Thank you so much, Zoe. Let's talk about our economy right now, in particular, small and medium-sized enterprises. A vital component of any economy and obviously creating jobs, and in our case, essential jobs. And they enable inclusive growth. And whilst the SME businesses are the lifeblood of South Africa's current economy, and this is what we keep getting told every day, that this is the area that we need to stimulate, employing between 50 and 60% of the country's workforce across all sectors, in fact. It is also one of the most at-risk spaces. And here to unpack the current financial climate for business owners is CEO of Cashflow Capital, Michael du Plooy. Michael, welcome back, man.
Thank you.
It's such an interesting time to talk to you about this because even as an individual who kind of runs like a small business in our industry, I've been hitting these walls, and we're talking post-COVID recovery, and it's great, and the market's stimulating, there's so much going on, but vulnerability just seems to be kind of the word of the day. What is the climate like for small businesses right now? What are you finding in your first-hand experience?
Yeah, I think there's a few macro themes at play. I mean, if you think about Russia and Ukraine,
Sure.
think about China, Taiwan, you think about the inflation numbers that came out yesterday in the US. So there's a lot of macro themes at play that influence, unfortunately.
The boxing match, it feels left, right.
Yeah,
left,
like you don't know where to go at this stage. But I mean, that all does have an influence on the South African SME at the end of the day. But I mean, it's funny you should say, I mean, it is summer now, or moving into summer.
Yeah.
And typically that's our best trade within the South African retail kind of space. So there's pros and cons. I think it's just about balancing sort of sound business principles on the micro side, and then letting these massive themes play out and hopefully,
Yeah, and mitigate where you can, because to be honest, there's some things we can't do anything about, and you've got to accept that as much as it seems to be impacting us on every level of life. Just buying groceries, it feels like everything has increased now. All of this being said, what are those decisions that we as business owners, small business or medium-sized business owners, are sometimes getting wrong or possibly could be doing better? What are the right choices to be making right now?
I mean, you said it well. At this stage, it feels like, you almost have to accept, like it's crazy out there. Something's going to happen.
Just manage your expectations.
So I think what's important is cash flow. So what people tend to do is they tend to pump all their cash into buying all the stock, basically spreading themselves thin, and that's great when everything works.
Yeah.
But as soon as something goes bad, then the whole thing stops.
Collapses, yeah.
So it's about just leaving a little bit of breathing room. I think a lot of lessons were learned through COVID in terms of business. Unfortunately, some of those
Really hard lessons.
Yeah, hard lessons. But I think it's about approaching things with caution and just making sure you've got a little bit of breathing room.
That's where you guys step in, obviously, and I love to use the word democratize. It just feels like you have made this space a lot more open for small businesses to be able to access this kind of funding and this cash flow. Cashflow Capital, how do you guys step in and support these small to medium businesses?
Yeah, so I mean, if banks are difficult to deal with.
They play a role.
Especially if you're a small business. I mean, it's very difficult. There's no real collateral. There's nothing
No
really...
track record,
It's very difficult. So what we try and do is, in Cashflow Capital, we provide kind of two services. The one is a short-term business loan, and that's kind of when you need something on demand. So that's maybe an opportunity happened today or an issue happened today that you need to solve right now. And then the other product is a trade finance, which is typically, most businesses either they buy a raw product or maybe even a finished product, they change it or manufacture, and then they sell it on.
Put it out, yeah.
And that process takes time, and there's cash locked up in that process. So that product really just unlocks that cash for you.
And it feels like there is an opportunity, as much as, yes, we are feeling the vulnerability at the moment, it feels like with this kind of interest and this drive to do business, to get out there, to recover, it is a very good place to be at the moment if you can manage those risk factors. I got wind of an old mutual acquisition in Preference Capital. Is there any connection to you guys and what's been playing out there?
Yeah, so that's interesting news. So Preference Capital is the holding company of Cashflow Capital, as well as several other SME finance companies. So the whole idea is that Preference Capital is kind of a one-stop shop for financial services and lending to SMEs. And yeah, happy to kind of announce that Old Mutual took a stake in Preference Capital. And it's a big drive just to help SMEs on a financial services level as well as now lending level. So, joining forces with a trusted brand like Old Mutual, I mean, it's great for us, obviously. It gives us a bit of
it's just their
credibility.
footprint and network and credibility.
Oh,
as you
huge.
say, they've been doing it forever.
Yeah.
And all this says to me is with your kind of drive and how you guys are motivated to open up these tools and empower so many more businesses, having this kind of marriage, absolute match made in heaven. I love that. Most important question. How do I get the money, yo? How do we connect with you?
I just give money.
Just give it up,
It's in my pockets.
Yeah, exactly. He came in here and his pockets were much bigger. How do we get access to this funding and what do we need to do to be able to qualify?
So obviously visit our website, but I think the big things are, at the moment we look at funding existing businesses. I can't say how that would change down the line with Old Mutual because there's a lot of products we can work on there. But if you're in the retail space, if you essentially sell anything to anyone, we can assist. Visit our website, www.cashflowcapital.co.za. You can do an online application. If you don't want to do that, you can speak to someone.
I love that.
Pretty much just trying to make it as easy as possible.
And accessible as possible, which is what people need. I think our hearts are in the right place at the moment, but we need the tools. We need to be empowered to be able to do something in this economy that everyone is so, kind of driving at the moment and so motivated to kind of give small to medium businesses this opportunity and platform, but that needs to be tools and it needs to be money, man. We need the cash flow. Step in, Cashflow Capital. Thank you so much, man. I love your guys' approach. And if you want to apply for funding right now for your business, as Michael said, please visit cashflowcapital.co.za, or you can simply call to them and speak to an actual person, 087-720-1287. They could be that next step that your business is waiting for.
We are business owners working with business owners. Cashflow Capital, business funding that works for you.